Welcome to Growth and Exit Strategies for Software and IT Companies, the flagship tech conference of the World Financial Symposiums. The GXS conference caters to tech founders and investors in tech M&A, covering topics like investments, growth strategies, buyouts, sales, divestitures, and mergers. Thank you for joining us. Let's begin.
Now, on to the Sellers Panel to learn insider tips from women CEOs who've built and sold their own companies. Led by Heidi Owen, Executive Vice President at Corum Group. Heidi, take it away.
Hello, my name is Heidi Owen. I'm the Executive Vice President of Marketing at Corum. Corum hosts over 300 events a year. We're educating tech executives about mergers and acquisitions. But one of the things I enjoy most is connecting with tech founders. I'm honored to be with these extraordinary tech founders today as they share with us their experience selling their companies. And with that, I'm going to ask each of you to introduce yourselves and tell us a little bit about your company that you sold and what motivated you to sell. Ulrika, I'll start with you first.
Okay, thank you, Heidi. My name is Ulrika Kjellberg. I'm the CEO of Vitek Apva, and I founded a company back in 2011. We are developing and providing a software as a service that is used in elderly care mainly, and it's for documentation, medication handling. We were not actually planning to sell. We were approached by different buyers. It was a great interest for our company and transactions in our segments. So it was a little bit opportunity driven. That's the short story.
Great, thank you. Asra, how about you?
Okay, I would probably start with my experience. So with the nearly 2 decades, I have experience in the banking and fintech companies management. I run actually several M&A and business transformation processes and achieved actually in all my leadership roles rapid revenue growth. But probably in this conversation, I would refer to my last experience, Lithuanian payment institution Viena Sąskaita, where I was successfully managing this company as its CEO and successfully sold. And still, I am still there, working together with a new shareholder, continuing what we have started. At the moment, I am actually managing the Lithuanian market and also overseeing the geographical expansion. Recently, we started our activities in Estonian and Polish market. Talking about the product itself, I mentioned it's payment institution, but actually we are bill consolidation platform, meaning that gathering a lot of information about households or persons issued utility bills, putting into one platform, and then inviting end users with a one click to pay those utility bills. So actually easing the process, offering to pay everything in one click, offering timely reminders, not forget to do that on time, offering payment history and statistics. So convenient bill management process serving. So kind of payment institution, financial institution, but on the other hand, also very deep tech company as we build everything internally and then developed it on our own. So talking about, probably here would be good to mention about our size. In Lithuania, we are serving more than 30% of the market, meaning that each third household uses our solution. So we are well established, well known, with a huge brand awareness. And probably that's why the time came to think about geographical expansion. And for doing this, the idea was also for previous shareholder to run out of this business as it wasn't his main activity. Found a new one to where the ideas matched and continuing.
Wonderful. So what attracted the attention of your eventual buyer? Ulrika?
Well, I think it was our market position. We are the market leader in our area. They were attracted to the business model, software as a service, that we have our own developed software. So a kind of unique position, and it's really, we have 200,000 daily users. It's around approximately 500,000 medical records per day in the system. So this is it's a critical software for our customers. So that gives impact to what we do, and it was that what I think mostly attracted the buyers to approach us.
Wonderful. Osra, what about you? What attracted your buyer?
Couldn't name one criteria for sure. Our new shareholder actually also it's a holding company having a lot of businesses in all Baltics, in all three countries, Estonia, Latvia, and Lithuania. And here is important to mention that their main activity, the many companies' activity, is serve the whole billing cycle of B2B customers. So meaning that they have the services like positive, negative register information. They can calculate the risk scores, which you can check before signing the agreement with your potential B2B partner. They are also offering some other financial products like payment initiation services for B2B customers to help them quicker and then easier to gather the payments for the issued invoices, and ending the cycle with a debt collection. We are really now in the Baltics the biggest company having the biggest portfolios of debt. So here actually probably we with our services serving not the B2B but B2C were the perfect fit, because on the other hand we also like helping B2B customers, our partners, also to manage and gather the payments on timely manner and doing quicker and in more like developed method. So basically the first idea why they pointed into us was that perfect fit for the services they have. But sure, going deeper, there was a bunch of other criterias. Well-developed product for sure, based on the advanced IT platform, which we created on our own. Also proven business model, as I already mentioned, serving 35% of Lithuanian market. Then the nicest part is scalability, which is also not very difficult in our case. Just you adopt the platform to new markets, habits, and then market needs, and you can launch it in other European countries. And upselling possibility, which is also important as we are serving end users, households, so sure we can sell in this platform saving products, investment, credit solutions, insurance products. So it's like another revenue stream which wasn't developed quite good before we were sold, and maybe our next target and focus for the future.
That is wonderful. So what was this, Osra, what was the timing of your process from start to finish, and what do you feel like was the most difficult part of the process?
Talking about timing, it's a bit funny story. Actually, I joined the company with the main goal, rise from previous shareholder to sell it. But as we all know, and then probably imagine, then those processes are quite long, and then they are taking not even the 1 year, but way, way longer, especially when you are looking by yourself for the possible investors on the market. But the funny story was that actually first management presentations and first investors we found and started the process on the second month when I joined. A bit stressful for me as the new tell, because we all can understand that question comes not from current activity, from way, way before, which you as a new seller probably even wouldn't know and can answer during the management presentation. But I managed to sell me as a future seller and then to the new investors in the 6 months after I joined. And we closed the deal in other 4 months. So basically, during 10 months after I joined, we already had the closed agreement.
And what was the most difficult part of the process for you?
For me, probably it's also connected with my situation that I was quite new person. Sure was change management, meaning that I had to build my new relationship with a new shareholder, show my attitude, capabilities, values, and then possibility deliver the results in the future. And sure, for my team, I was also quite new. They were happy with previous sellers. So it's again, new seller, new changes, huge changes for sure. For my team, it's even bigger than for me, because I at least have some experience in that. So yeah, to calm everybody down, to make them feel good that no huge changes would come, that key persons especially would stay in the company, and we can assure the continuity of the business and then further growth. So probably this part.
Thank you so much. Ulrika, how about you? What was the timing of your process from start to finish, and then what did you feel like was the most challenging part?
Yes, actually the first call I got from a buyer was in November 2019. I was in Dubai and I got this call and I was really surprised. And then it just kept on ringing and calling. So we listened to different alternatives, but the VTech Software Group, the leading software house that finally acquired us, had the first contact with us in April and we sold mid-June. So it went really quickly, I must say.
Yeah, so for both of you, a pretty quick process. And then what was... Yeah.
They are doing their due diligence in-house. And since we had been having several discussions with other potential buyers, we prepared ourselves both mentally and with all the documentation in order, etc. It was a quick process, I must say. So, no, yeah.
Okay. And what did you feel like was the most challenging part of that process then?
I felt it was really interesting and exciting. I can't today recall anything that was challenging, but of course, evaluating the offer, it's many perspectives. It's the financial part of understanding if you are going to reinvest or get paid in shares, for example, etc. So I mean, you need to do some analysis of the bid and the offer. I felt it was kind of straightforward, but it's different. It can be complicated, I guess, depending on who's buying and their expectation. VTech is very straightforward. They always acquire 100%. So I felt it was easy. It was during the pandemic, so that was in a one way a little bit beneficial for me because it was not too many people in the office, so I could go around and get all the information and looking for things without anyone wondering and asking too many questions about it, why I was looking for old documentation, etc. So that was kind of an advantage. But on the other hand, we couldn't meet with the buyers in person. Of course, this digital and Teams, etc., works very well, but still, it was a big decision, and it would have been nice if we could meet in person a couple of times. But it went well, and we are very happy about the buyers and ownership today. So it was a good process. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that we saw that too here at Corum, is that during the pandemic, the transaction timeline sped up really quickly, and people were engaged because we were all online all the time. So that's interesting. And you also answered my next question, which is how did you maintain confidentiality, or did you experience any problems with maintaining confidentiality? And this sounds like the pandemic worked in your favor for that.
Yes, it did. So no, it was not. And we always, even though we were a startup and this was an innovation, and we didn't start it with an exit strategy, it was more like this, we would like this to be successful. We always kept all the documentation, regardless if it was commercial contracts or code documentation, in very well order. So it was very easy for us to share the information that was asked for. So no, I think it was quite kind of straightforward.
Great. Asra, how about you? How were you able to maintain confidentiality during the transaction, so that you weren't distracting staff?
For me, it was more difficult. when I came, actually already were the rumors that Vienna Sarskita, the company which was sold, actually for a few years are already on the table for a sales process. So part of team knew something about that. Part of team were wondering what is going there. So sure, we agreed with the previous shareholder that we will briefly introduce that, confirm that yes, we are going to begin this selling process, but it's not a harmful or bad thing. We are aiming to find a new investor for doing further steps for geographical expansion, and it would be a long process. So the story was created like this, and then even the key persons knew a bit more because they needed to help me. I was new in the company and then needed the help to figure out, to find that information from the previous years, but everything went well. When the agreement was signed and it was loudly already presented that the research deal and the need only to close it, everybody took it in a good way. Everybody already wanted something new, as we are already huge, and it's getting year by year even harder and harder to grow, and everybody wants to see those good results. So aiming geographical expansion, it was a good created story why we needed this, and then why we will face the new face of the company.
That's great. That kind of goes into this next question is, what steps that you might have taken to ensure that the company is running smoothly from LOI to close? Because for, the executives, this is becoming the part where you're getting most fatigued and a little bit on edge. So also, what other steps besides, communicating? It sounds like communication with your team about the transaction and potential changes and the upside. What are the things that you do to make sure that the company is running smoothly between LOI and close?
Yeah, this, my mentioned 4 months were really tough ones. We had a bunch of KPIs to fulfill as we are a regulated entity, we are payment institution, we have regulator, Lithuanian bank, so even legal part is more complicated. We have to ask and then be granted to do this transaction, so this part, and mainly still was focusing each month on monthly KPIs. It's like to keep growth of active investors on those KPIs which we were heavily telling that we can reach them. The growth of active customers database, also needed to reach budgeted monthly EBIT. So here you can play for sure a bit. If revenue is below the budgeted amount, you can save a bit cost. So needed to show this track which was planned that we are capable and that we had to deliver. It was one of the clauses of closing agreement. If we would not deliver them, then the deal is ended.
Yeah,
but all turns out.
Ulrika, how about you? Any steps that you took to ensure that LOI to closing period ran smoothly?
No, actually the opposite. I tried to keep up business as usual, because that's the best way of keeping everything as it normally are, and it won't be suspicious to anyone. And also, you never know if you are closing the deal or not. So I didn't want to the other people to get distracted or anything. So very much business as usual. And of course, it's easier when you have a short process that we did.
Yeah, very, very much so. So besides kind of running the business as usual, any advice that you have for other CEOs looking at running an M&A process that would help the due diligence process go smoother?
You're asking me? Yes.
Yes. Oh, sorry, Lauren.
Yes. Okay. No, well, I mean, prepare. If you, as I said, we were not prepared to do this. We haven't planned for it. Of course, we understood that we are kind of successful. It's a value in our business, but we were really working with the documentation and have everything in order. We are in medical business. We are in information security. It's very critical for our customers. So we were well kept and everything was in order, and that made it very easy for me to share information. And I had a clear view when I wanted to share what information. So the advice is also to be in charge of the process. I had the legal advice, I had financial advice, but not like a seller advice. So I hold the process myself and run it, and you need to understand and reflect when would you like to share what information. And also, I never signed an NDA, and because I wanted to be able to talk to several buyers at the same time to compare a little bit. And my experience is it's from the buyer side that they stress you to write the NDA to get like an exclusive right to your company. And if from my point of view, I have not the experience of selling companies prior, so I wanted to keep be flexible and compare different alternatives and decide when to sign the letter of intent and be in control of things.
Yeah. So it sounds like you had a couple people on your team to help you through diligence, your legal representative yourself. But on the buyer side, how many folks were on their due diligence team?
I would say it was 4 or 5.
Yeah.
And the one helping me out were external, but it was, so it was the mainly part. So they didn't advise us about the value of the company. It was more about going through contracts and making consequence analysis of different terms, etc. So
yeah. So Asra, how about you? Any advice that you have about going through the due diligence process for other CEOs?
I have a little bit different view. And Ulrika, I would suggest if there is possibility, so to have the advisors, which would help you even in the initial stage to prepare but sure, we with Ulrika have different experience. We were looking for investors, preparing for that, and Ulrika was approached by them. So yeah, I would suggest advisors that they would help with initial drafting documentation, company's value calculation, would help to make the first rounds with the possible investors, the first stocks, and then you have advisor near which protects you, which actually earns success fee from your deal, so does his best to help you sell the company as fast as possible and with the highest price as can get on the market. So for sure, I would suggest to think about that. We had them. It helped a lot. Our new shareholder also had advisors, and especially the other part had advisors and you don't have, it's then really complicated because those are professionals in that field. They know how to talk, they know what risks should be pointed out and how to put the arguments to cover some risks. So it was nice experience actually to have really strong one advisors by our side.
That's great. So
it's good. I must say it's good input, I think, and I wouldn't recommend anyone else to do it the same way as we did, because I think every company and every seller and buyer is unique. So it's different. But so the main take is just to be in charge of the process. As a buyer, you do it yourself or together with your advisors, and some kind of advisors we all need, but to be in control of the process is, I think, the main take here.
That's great advice. Osra, how about you? So on your team, how many folks were involved in due diligence compared to how many were on the buyer side for due diligence?
From our side, 2 advisors and 2 shareholders and then me, so 5 people. On other side, at the beginning was maybe 3 of them, but when the things began to evolve, then I don't know, even sometimes I saw even 8 of them. So it depends.
Yeah, I think that's always probably a little bit shocking as for the sellers, the imbalance of, all the resources the buyers have and bring into this compared to the sellers. That can be a little bit intimidating, or probably even more so, do your preparation and be prepared for that due diligence process, because they're going to have a full team on that other side. So thank you for sharing that advice. So we're kind of moving on to kind of our take-home advice. This is, as Anna mentioned, this is one of our most, folks are really interested in hearing from sellers and their perspective about going through the process. And so this advice is really valuable to them. What advice would you give to someone contemplating an M&A exit? And along the same lines, what would you do differently next time? Ulrika, how about you?
Yeah, I'm not sure if I would do anything differently, to be honest. So no, I can't really say.
Okay. And then, so Asra, how about you? Anything that you would do differently or advice that you would have for somebody, contemplating an M&A process?
As it wasn't my first M&A, probably like Ulrika, wouldn't see what to change much. My previous experience was worst one, so this one was really good. Like the second one, so the process was fast. I was new and happy with the result. Actually, that from the first try, I managed to help to sell and even stayed in the company, working further. So this also shows that everything was done quite well in the proper way, and then the business was continuing, their activity still growing. So probably everything was good. But sure, if you'd like to go deeper, so I believe in each process, part of the process, you can change something. At least for me, it's now I am 3.5 years in the company, so probably now feels that I was really stressed and afraid in that the beginning, when on the second month the shareholder came and then told tomorrow you have management presentation. So probably now I will react a bit different and wouldn't be so afraid, and wouldn't stand present with my big open eyes. But all is good. Everybody understands you are the new one, and then probably for everybody, in my shoes, would be a bit difficult at the beginning. But second and third management presentation already went smooth. So I would say lessons learned and taken. Don't be afraid. Say what you know. Don't be afraid to say that you do not know, that you will check or figure out and come with the answers. So it's open conversation. We all are people, can't gather all the information, all the numbers, especially in head, even if you are for a long, long way time in the company. So probably would act on these first tries a bit more relaxed.
Yeah, no, that's good advice, and wonderful you were able to take from your previous experience, apply it, and then that your most recent exit being smoother. So that's wonderful. Yeah. Ulrika, can you provide any advice on how to choose and manage advisors, including legal and M&A?
So sure, you should approach the market, get at least few offers, check the experience, especially what recent deals they had, which of them they successfully closed. Would be great if, for example, sector would match, or wouldn't be very, very, very far, meaning that they did really then deep analysis of that sector and then really can be helpful with answering the questions, and then even providing market trends, what is especially valuable, because when you are selling, you are drawing the future trend, you are selling the future result, basically, not even current ones. So, of course, in my opinion, remuneration part is very important. You should structure it properly. In my opinion, small fixed fee to cover the initial costs, document preparation, resources time, and then can be bigger agreed success fee, also would push them to move quicker, to try to sell with a bigger price, because only upon that depends their success fee. And the same with the lawyers, also should be experienced in that field. Do not think probably the cheapest one, which never had such complicated deals. Sure, you can't compare different deals, but in our case, like legal documentation was really, really like, it was a lot with a huge number of KPIs which we need to fulfill and etc. I'm sure you need the specialists to review and even be eager to discuss with the other parts, legal team, to at least try to exclude something, bring the scope, like to protect you, to help you also like close the deal, put aside a bit what is not so necessary.
Thank you. That's really helpful. Ulrika, I know you didn't use an advisor, it sounds like, but how about legal and accounting and advice you have for other CEOs trying to hire on for an M&A process?
Well, what I thought was really interesting is that my advisors didn't give me the same advice. So that was like a good process internally for us as well, because they saw different weaknesses and strengths from the bid, the offer that we got. So that made us really find out the weaknesses from perhaps tax perspective versus legal criteria, etc. So we worked this together, but I'm happy that I took them from different companies, because normally you have a team and they are from the same supplier or the same advisor. So they had like an internal needed process themselves, and that made me very strong in the negotiation with the buyer. So that I really think that's helpful, and also making your own due diligence of the buyer, understand who is the other part, and what is not only the financial expectation but the kind of ownership they represent. So that's some advice I would like to share.
Yeah, no, that's interesting advice. So now that your transaction is completed, you're both, a couple of years past it, has the acquisition met your expectations?
For me, definitely, yes. Since, again, it was a little bit, opportunity driven. It was still kind of young business. We wanted to stay in the company. We were very engaged in everything. And we would like it to keep it that way and be independent. I had the freedom to keep on developing our offer and our solution. And we have a lot of freedom. And actually what they told us that life after in the new family, in the VTech software group, it turned out exactly as they predicted. So I'm very happy, because we were also 6 co-owners and I represented the seller team. So I felt that this is really important, that everyone is happy later on, the buyer, but also all the seller teams, so we can keep on working together as this strong team that led us to this successful position that we had, that raised all the interest from different buyers, and it has been going well, I must say.
So have all six founders stayed on together?
The 3 who worked in the company before the acquisition is still in the company. The other 3 were not actively working. But for us that were in the business, we are still here.
Wonderful.
Sometimes we forget that we sold the company. I think, but still, VTech is, it's on the Nasdaq, so it's a different kind of company with a formal reporting and communication due to the stock market and so. But I think we had that experience from earlier in other companies, and but still we can keep on the entrepreneur spirit of the company, even though we are in this large company group now.
No, that's really interesting. And wonderful to feel, still positive about the outcome. So, Asura, how about you? Has the transaction, has it met your expectations now that the deal has been completed and you're a couple of years out?
So life is still good, highlighted in bright colors, so everything is fine. I am also happy. I'm happy that my vision and my team's vision aligns with the new shareholders. I am doing my favorite job. I came here like to sell and had a chance to do geographical expansion, and I am doing this. Feeling valued by the group, by the headquarters, so everything is fine. We are still growing, rapidly growing, so all is fine. Also, like Ulrika, happy with the decision. And actually, what wanted also to say, really happy that shareholder sees us and wants to keep us probably for the lifetime, not aiming to push us. I don't know. Get the 3 or 4 times better results and then sell in 5 years timeline, like some, for example, investment funds, if would bought us. So really happy that it sees us as a family members and then wants to keep us and run activities, do expansion. So all is fine.
That's great. So is it correct that as you were going through the negotiations for that deal, Osra, that you knew that this was going to be something that they would hold on for the lifetime?
Probably at that time, no.
Okay.
This understanding comes later when you are starting to work with a new shareholder. Still, in the process, you have probably a lot of doubts, especially if you are not the owner, you are just a seller serving the company. So, yeah. And even, I don't know, it took a bit time still, like, to understand what is going there and then how we value each other. So a couple of months should work together to understand that really, like, we have the same vision and then everything is fine.
So it was a happy beginning and not, that's wonderful. So what can you tell us about life after the deal? You've kind of alluded to it, it's new challenges and, and kind of continuing and growing at some of the same, but I guess I'll start with you, Osra. What's next?
What's next? So on the plans, on strategic plans for 3 and 5 years, actually, it's a lot. Should say that our life haven't become easier. A lot of in our pipeline, a lot of ideas, launching new products, new functions still even this year. Then will be those launches in the new market. So actually aiming to become really well-known pan-European player, not local Lithuanian one. So ambitions are huge.
Yeah, no, that's great. That's interesting. So Ulrika, how about you? What's next?
Yeah, I just want to comment what you said, Osra, about the long-term ownership, because that was something that we really evaluated as well. We had VCs wanting to buy us, and we have this VTech software group that is a long-term owner. They represent the long-term ownership. And I thought that was really essential for us choosing them. So it's also an advice, understand the buyer's vision of your company. And if you would like to be still part of the company, you need to be aligned with that vision. So that's something to look into. And life for the company now, well, still growing a lot. So that's great. And we are looking into new geographical markets and also expanding the business footprint within the healthcare sector in Sweden locally. So we are very excited about going to work every morning and benefit from this strong owner. And VTech is in the Nordic Europe, in the Nordic countries, and also in the Netherlands. So we have great support now when we would like to make the expansion. So it's exciting to be a small company still that we are, but in this big group, and we try to benefit from their experience and market knowledge in different countries in our region.
That's great. So we're wrapping up here. And do you have any final tips or advice for CEOs thinking about this process? Ulrika?
I would say a little bit, as you mentioned before, Austria, ask questions, ask everything. And if you don't understand, I mean, just it's you. If you have a buyer's interest, you do a great job. Otherwise, they won't buy your company. So sometimes maybe it's easy to feel a little bit not so experienced with all these advisors, and they do this for a living every day, but feel confident that you have a great company that raises interest from buyers, and feel confident in what you do and ask the questions that you want to understand and go for it from there.
That's good advice. Osra, how about you? Any final tips or advice?
I would also suggest, if you are doubting if you are capable or not to do that, I would suggest for sure try it. And for sure everything will go well. You will find a buyer, or at least you will take from that to your experience something really very, very good, and will grow as a manager, as a seller, and then will be prepared for the next steps and then the next EMA deals. So for sure, it's worth to try, and it's a very nice experience, especially if it's successful one.
That's great. Well, it's a pleasure talking with both of you today. Thank you so much for sharing about your M&A experience. It sure was a pleasure. This is really, truly the best part of working for Corum, is getting to meet other founders and talking with them. So thank you for your time, and we'll hopefully talk to you soon. So Anna, it's back to you now.
To our audience, we appreciate your participation today. Visit WFS.com for more information on events coming up. If you'd like to get in touch with the WFS team, speakers, or the Corum group, email us at info@wfs.com.
World Financial Symposiums, the education centre for tech leaders.